is that? Oh my God.
We don't think we want to know, maybe.
Someone taped that on there, right?
Yeah. I pulled that back. I was like, wow, I gotta stop watching Criminal Minds.
Yeah, family members, Jackson family members coming in and people wanting some questions answered as well as us.
And some 12 days later, the world caught a glimpse of his 14-karat gold casket lined with blue velvet, which he wasn't even in, by the way, at his public memorial in Los Angeles Staples Center.
We had never seen anything like it. I had never seen anything like it.
The world thought it had seen it all, but this new footage of Michael Jackson's funeral changes everything. For over 1 billion viewers, the goodbye they witnessed may have been nothing more than a carefully staged illusion. What was meant to be closure now feels like a haunting question that refuses to die.
Michael Jackson, the king of pop, has died.
Who killed him? Was it an overdose?
Many people thought that Michael was murdered.
The emergency room physician, they believed it was a heart attack, partly because of what Mr. Murray had told them. Never told them anything about any other narcotics or anything. They just believed he had had a heart attack and stopped breathing.
By the time June 25th, 2009 ended, the world felt different. Not quieter in a peaceful way. Quieter, like something had been ripped out of it. The official cause was acute propofol intoxication. Clinical words, cold words, but the reaction was anything but cold. It was an emotional shock spreading across continents in real time. News channels did not slow down for days. People cried in the streets. Radio stations stopped normal programming. It did not feel like celebrity news. It felt like global grief unfolding live.
Dr. Murray told investigators he feared Jackson was getting addicted, so he reduced the dosage to 25 milligrams just 2 days prior to Jackson's death.
Taken to the hospital, there wasn't a bloody knife, there wasn't a smoking gun. There was nothing on the surface that would lead anyone to believe anything nefarious had occurred.
But even in those first hours, something felt unsettled. The timeline was messy, reports conflicted, questions came faster than answers. There were delays that no one clearly explained, details that never fully lined up. Still, the world was too overwhelmed to focus on that. Emotion was louder than logic. People wanted closure immediately. They wanted a goodbye they could hold on to. And very quickly, the biggest farewell in modern history was planned.
The desperate 911 call came from inside Michael Jackson's rented mansion. It was just before 12:30 p.m., June 25, 2009, in Los Angeles.
On July 7th, the scale of mourning reached something almost impossible to process. Nearly 20,000 people filled Staples Center. That alone would have been overwhelming, but what happened outside that building made it even more unreal. 1.6 million people had applied just to attend. Grief became a lottery ticket. Thousands more gathered nearby. Another 6,500 watched from screens at Nokia Theater LA Live because they could not fit inside.
Vivid new scenes in the attempt to save Michael Jackson's life. Jurors today in the manslaughter trial of Jackson's personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, listened to a recording of the star's security guard pleading with emergency personnel for help.
Many people thought that Michael was murdered. Maybe he committed suicide.
It couldn't have been deliberate, could it?
And beyond Los Angeles, the entire planet seemed to stop. The broadcast reached an estimated 1 billion viewers. 1 billion people are watching the same farewell at the same time. It was not just a memorial. It was a global moment of synchronized emotion. People who never met him cried like they had lost someone from their own family.
He's pumping his chest, but he's not responding to anything, sir.
The king of pop's heart had stopped. He was unconscious. His personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, who can be heard in the background on the call, was attempting CPR.
Did anybody witness what happened?
But inside all that scale, all that emotion, all that history, something was missing. Something very basic, something physical, something real. No one ever saw the body.
It's a shocking account of his last hours. Drug following drug following drug. So many drugs that Jackson's heart could no longer take it.
The coffin was there, polished, golden, and silent, but it remained sealed from beginning to end. No public viewing, no final confirmation, no moment where the world could actually see who they were saying goodbye to. Security around it was intense. Movement is tightly controlled, access restricted. Cameras were never allowed too close. Everything looked ceremonial and precise. Everything felt carefully arranged.
Tonight, we've learned what investigators believe are the facts about how Michael Jackson died. It's a shocking account of his last hours.
People mourn deeply, but they mourn something they never actually saw with their own eyes. At the time, most accepted that. It felt respectful, private, dignified. But looking back, that sealed coffin became the first crack in the story because closure usually requires proof, and proof was never given.
In July 2009, a major bombshell. A source tells CNN Dr. Murray gave Michael Jackson the powerful sedative propofol.
While billions watched speeches and performances inside the arena, activity was happening elsewhere, quietly, away from broadcast cameras, away from public attention. At Forest Lawn Memorial Park, security was unusually tight that same day. Access was heavily restricted. Certain areas were completely controlled, and most people never noticed because their attention was locked on the memorial broadcast.
The legendary king of pop, Michael Jackson, passed away.
Within that cemetery complex, attention centered on a specific structure, Hall of Liberty. It was not part of public memorial coverage. It was not shown on television. It was not mentioned in the official summaries of the day. Yet activity around it was closely monitored and limited.
Propofol is usually administered through an IV drip and produces such a comatose state, it isn't supposed to be used outside a hospital setting.
That detail barely registered back then. It felt like routine security, but years later, that location would become the center of something deeply unsettling.
According to the police affidavit, Conrad Murray told detectives he'd been treating Michael Jackson for insomnia for weeks. He said he'd tried lots of other drugs, but that the pop star demanded propofol.
Because during the exact time the memorial was happening, a hearse was reportedly positioned behind that building, not in public view, not in press coverage, hidden from normal observation. No official record confirms body transport there that day. No documentation explains why a vehicle would be stationed in that specific area while the world believed everything was taking place somewhere else.
Today, court documents filed by police in Houston seeking to raid the home office and storage facility of Jackson's personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, were released.
For years, that detail stayed buried. No witnesses spoke publicly, no footage surfaced, no questions gained traction.
In August, Dr. Murray makes his first public comments since his star patient's death.
I have done all I could do. I told the truth, and I have faith the truth will prevail.
Then, late 2025 arrived. Suddenly, grainy footage began circulating online. Shaky recording, unstable framing, described as unauthorized and never meant for public release. The video showed a hearse parked behind the Hall of Liberty on July 7, 2009. During the memorial, during the global broadcast, at that moment the world believed it was witnessing the final farewell.
He's called by Jackson's personal assistant and told to go through the front door of the main house, up the staircase to Jackson's private suite, where he finds a dying Michael.
The rear door of the vehicle appears to shift slightly open. Not wide, just enough. Inside, a shape covered by a white sheet becomes visible, long, extremely thin. The outline beneath the fabric looks fragile, narrow shoulders, sharp contours, a form that seems almost weightless. The clip is brief, disturbingly brief. The door closes again. The footage ends.
On November 7, 2011, Dr. Conrad Murray is found guilty of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 4 years in prison.
That single visual shattered the emotional certainty many people had carried for years. Because if that recording truly captured what it appears to show, then something important happened away from the memorial, something not documented publicly, something not acknowledged officially.
The doctor's been the only one here. Okay, so the doctor see what happened? Doctor, did you see what happened, sir? He's pumping his chest, but he's not responding to anything, sir. Please.
And suddenly the questions from 2009 did not feel distant anymore. The delays, the sealed coffin, the restricted movement, the private handling, the controlled access. Every small detail that once seemed procedural started to feel heavier.
Unfortunately, that is not a choice that we were able to make.
1 billion people watched a farewell that felt complete. But if a hidden moment unfolded elsewhere at the same time, then the goodbye the world witnessed might not have been the full story.
But it doesn't end there. Michael Jackson's mother and children are bringing a wrongful death lawsuit against AEG, the concert promoter for Jackson's doomed comeback tour. Katherine Jackson says AEG is to blame for the loss of her son.
That is why this footage does not just raise curiosity. It disturbs something deeper. It challenges the emotional closure people believe they experienced. Because grief depends on certainty, and certainty depends on seeing what truly happened. If something significant occurred out of sight that day, then the world may have shared a goodbye without fully knowing what it was saying goodbye to. So for years, everything stayed quiet.
The whole case may hinge on an email written just 11 days before Michael Jackson's death. It could be a smoking gun.
People argued online. Sure, that never stops. But nothing new actually appeared. No new photos, no new witnesses, no shocking discoveries. Just the same emotional memories looping again and again. The world had filed everything away under one label. Tragic, finished, closed.
What is that? Oh my God.
Don't think we want to know, maybe.
Someone taped that on there, right?
Yeah.
But perhaps even more startling was what went on in that room right before the call was made.
Then late 2025, everything changed. A grainy, shaky video appeared online, looking like it had been dragged straight from 2009. It wasn't cinematic or artistic. It was messy, unstable, and clearly never meant to be seen. People called it leaked, suppressed, hidden for years. No one is nearby. No hands. No movement. No one is nearby. No hands. No movement from outside. It just moves.
In the email, AEG's CEO tells the show's director to remind Dr. Murray what is expected of him and that AEG is paying his salary.
Under a white sheet, a human-shaped form appears, extremely thin, fragile. The fabric clings, outlining narrow shoulders, a thin chest, and a skeletal frame. The door closes, and that's it. Short, unexplained, uncomfortable. What made this even more shocking was the timing. According to official records, the body wasn't supposed to be there during the memorial broadcast. A physical object appeared where it shouldn't, creating a glaring timeline conflict.
Veteran medical professional does something he has never done before.
He was giving mouth to mouth, sir. I recall that after a couple or a few breaths.
Then came the details that made it chilling. The autopsy described a frail 136-pound body surgically altered with a scalp tattoo to simulate hair and pigmented lips. Internet analysts compared the outline to these features. Frame by frame, the proportions aligned disturbingly well. Suddenly, the clip wasn't just mysterious. It connected directly to documented reality, turning speculation into a haunting, unsettling possibility.
Jackson's family believes AEG pressured Murray, even threatened his $150,000 a month job as the singer's personal physician. All so Michael Jackson could rehearse, despite his fragile health.
The final burial did not happen immediately. It took more than 2 months. Nearly 10 weeks passed before the official resting place was finalized. That alone raised eyebrows. Delayed burials do happen, but this was not a simple delay. It was sealed inside concrete. Each detail alone can be explained. Together, they create a pattern that feels incomplete. The official narrative depends heavily on trust, but trust usually grows when things are visible, confirmed, and documented openly. Here, visibility was limited almost everywhere.
On the day he died, Conrad Murray said he gave Jackson 25 milligrams of it at 10:40 in the morning. 911 was called less than 2 hours after that.
So when the 2025 footage surfaced after 16 years of silence, the psychological effect was intense. It did not just introduce new images, it reopened emotional wounds people thought had healed. Online communities went into full investigation mode, frame by frame breakdowns, motion analysis, anatomical overlays. Some viewers even claimed they could detect subtle movement beneath the sheet, not dramatic motion, just slight tension in the fabric that looked responsive.
And how Prince came to watch.
Please raise your right hand.
Her name is Kai Chase, cook and gentle-spirited nutritionist who's in the kitchen on the day Michael Jackson died.
That single interpretation changed the emotional tone completely. The memorial that once felt like a clear ending suddenly felt like a performance that might have hidden unresolved moments behind it. 16 years of quiet acceptance dissolved almost overnight, because sometimes one small piece of unclear footage can do what thousands of official statements never could.
And she, like Dr. Murray, did not call 911. Who did?
Please state your name for the record.
Alberto Alvarez.
It can make people feel like the story they believed was finished. might not be finished at all. Once people started feeling like the story did not fully line up, the theories arrived right on schedule. Human brains hate empty spaces, so they start building explanations whether they are invited or not. The first question sounded simple enough. Was the body actually where officials said it was at every moment in time? But once people began comparing movements, locations, and that strange footage, the timeline started looking less like a straight road and more like a maze with missing walls.
Michael Jackson's death is officially ruled a homicide. In February 2010, Dr. Conrad Murray is charged with involuntary manslaughter. He pleads not guilty.
Dr. Murray did not cause the death of Michael Jackson.
Then came the decoy body idea, and yes, people took that very seriously. The suggestion was that one transport might have been public-facing while another was private and tightly controlled. Cameras see one thing, insiders handle another. It sounds dramatic, but when details feel hidden, dramatic explanations suddenly feel strangely reasonable. Suspicion does not stay small once it gets comfortable.
Of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 4 years in prison.
But it doesn't end there. Michael Jackson's mother and children are bringing a wrongful death lawsuit against AEG.
And then comes the theory that makes people shift in their seats a little: containment. Because when you step back and look at everything together, the level of control feels intense. A gold-plated coffin sealed in concrete, burial location moved multiple times, security layers everywhere. That does not just look protective, it looks carefully managed. Naturally, that leads to the uncomfortable question people keep circling back to. Was all this extreme control about honoring a legend or managing risk? No one agrees on what the risk would even be, but the level of protection makes people wonder anyway. When actions feel bigger than the explanation, curiosity grows teeth.
Dr. Murray did not cause the death of Michael Jackson.
That would be up to a jury to decide. In September 2011, more than 2 years after Michael Jackson's death, Conrad Murray goes to trial.
And this is where the emotional impact really lands. For years, the world believed it witnessed the largest goodbye in human history. 1 billion people watching, sharing grief in real time, feeling like they had truly said farewell to Michael Jackson. That collective moment felt final, almost sacred. But the footage made some people feel like the ending they experienced might not have been complete. Closure is fragile. It depends on certainty. Once certainty disappears, grief does not settle properly. It just waits quietly for the next unanswered question. That is why so many people suddenly started re-examining memories they thought were settled long ago.
He reached over and grabbed a handful of vials, and then he reached out to me and said, "Here, put these in a bag."
Murray's own iPhone recording of Jackson from May 10, 2009 was played in court.
Some now look back at the memorial with a different feeling entirely. Not as a clear conclusion, but as something layered, a powerful public event sitting on top of private actions that never fully surfaced. The emotions were real, the tears were real, but the full reality may have been more complicated than anyone realized at the time. And that leaves one thought that refuses to go away. What if the world mourned completely, while something essential remained unresolved somewhere else? That idea alone is enough to make the entire story feel unfinished, like the last page of a book quietly went missing. So what remains are a few facts that sit there, stubborn and uncomfortable. 1 billion witnesses, yet no public viewing of the body. A sealed coffin, multiple relocations, concrete surrounding the final resting place, a hidden vehicle, a covered form, a door that moved. And that leads to the question people keep returning to over and over again. Did history record a funeral everyone witnessed, or did it record something far more controlled than anyone realized at the time?